When you arrive at Babworth, you are likely to be greeted by the birds singing. Depending on the time of your visit, there may be a carpet of snowdrops, riots of daffodils, dappled sunlight, or crunching leaves underfoot. It's easy to think, if you walk along the pilgrim way to Babworth now, that the church in the woods has always been tucked away. But the church was once on a main road. Likewise, the services now steadfastly said in the Book of Common Prayer seem like they must echo back into forever. But All Saints has been the home of radical nonconformity. All Saints Babworth is seen by many as the church where the separatist story really began. Richard Clifton was the vicar there from 1586 to 1605. William Brewster would travel to Babworth from Scrooby to hear him preach, and would write down the sermons to repeat at St Wilfrid's Church in his home village later that day. A young William Bradford also came under Clifton's influence, and would have visited the church in his youth. When Clifton left in 1605, it was not his own choice. He was deprived of the living when the church wardens admitted that they did not have the latest prayer book or any surplice within the church. Surplices are an element of vicars' robes that many still wear today, but they had to wear them back then, and local nonconformists were often in trouble for not doing so. Clifton did not stop preaching, though, and worked with the separatist groups who worshipped covertly in the area. William Bradford writes of him in Of Plymouth Plantation. But in this other church, which must be the subject of our discourse, besides other worthy men, was Mr. Richard Clifton, a grave and revered preacher, who by his pains and diligence had done much good, and under God had been a means of the conversion of many. In New England's Memorial of 1669, they say, "Our fathers were Englishmen, which came over this great ocean, and were ready to perish in this wilderness." Walking at Babworth in the spring and reflecting on the pilgrim's story puts me in mind of Rupert Brooke's poem, The Soldier. It was written almost 300 years after the Mayflower sailed, but seems to capture some patriotic feeling that I imagine the pilgrims shared as they went off, aware they were likely not to return. Here are a few lines from it. "A dust whom England bore, shaped, made aware, gave once her flowers to love, her ways to roam. A body of England's, breathing English air, washed by the rivers, blessed by the sons of home." It must have taken a great deal for these pilgrims, who even on arriving in the New World swore allegiance to King James, to leave their native land. Bradford quotes Socrates in an early part of his journal, and this phrase stands out to me: "bereaved of their native soil." It is the grief and mourning over one land, combined with hope resting in another, which impressed itself upon me on my latest trip to Babworth. Beyond this, it was a cradle of nonconformity, where pilgrim minds were inspired with the truth that they took to heart and carried across the ocean.